Jacqueline. Welcome to the Brooklyn Knit Folk Podcast. This is episode 30. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, Pinterest, wherever you look me up is at Jacqueline Salem. And show notes for this podcast and all the other podcasts for the Brooklyn Knit Folk Podcast can be found on Ravelry if you look at the Brooklyn Knit Folk Ravelry group. And I'm so excited to have you all here today. If you are a new viewer, this is a podcast about crafting, knitting, there's lots of sewing, and then just other random crafts that I get up to. Hopefully a lot more home-related crafts because I moved a month ago, so that's really exciting. And for those of you who have watched previous episodes and or follow me on Instagram and know about the green velvet couch, it is taking its sweet time getting here. Let's just say that. But I do have another piece of furniture for the living room, so at least I'm not sitting on the floor now, so that's really exciting. This week I'd like to give an extra special welcome to these folks who introduce themselves in the Ravelry group. And they are Health Nut, Pearly Bee, D. Kissinger, Papiri Key Kid, Carrie Joyce, ANKC, Rocassi, R.O. Cassie, Aquila Dahan, this is a mouthful for this one, Aquila Dahan, sorry, Annie Waddy, Simply Imagine Knit, Mama Knits, Tyrannia, Selket, Rudy Patootie, that's a cute one. I wrote them down, and so sometimes when I'm writing, I'm just like looking at letters to make sure it's spelled right, and that's really cute. Anyway, Dabble Joy, Granny 59-2, Shani, LP 384, Saminar, and Palomistraza. Hello, and thank you so much for introducing yourselves in the Ravelry group. I love hearing from you guys. Some of you have emailed me before with just a little bit about you, or when you just, talk about what you love in the Ravelry group. I just love getting to know you guys better because that's what, honestly, this is all about anyway. So if you have any questions for me or want to get in touch, the best way to do so is through Instagram or through brooklynknitfolk@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing you and hearing more about you. So welcome. And let's get right into the show. Oh, one quick announcement before we do. Mina Phillip generously donated a copy of her New York Sock Club collection, and it's going to be releasing a pattern every month, I think through September is what it is. And they're all New York inspired, so I drew for a winner. I've earburned you on Ravelry, so if you won, you know, and Mina also knows. Also, congratulations to Mina of the Knitting Expat podcast and her husband Perry. They just had a baby, and I'm so excited. She's so cute, baby Layla. So congratulations and all the love and best wishes for you. I am a recent aunt, so I know what it's like to have a new baby close by-ish, and I miss him so much already, so I can't wait to see him again. I'm going to be seeing him in 2 weeks, so I cannot wait. So let's get right into the show. And I also want to mention, in addition to the giveaway that I drew for this week, we have another giveaway, and I will announce that at the end of the episode so you know if you want to enter or not and how you can enter to win. So let's get into the episode, shall we? And with finished objects, I do have a finished object this week. It is a pair of socks. I am in love with this finished object. So as I mentioned on previous episode, this yarn off the shelf colors wise is nothing I would have ever gone for. Like orange, not really my thing. This kind of blue, these kinds of colors are not typically what I go for. But in the context of this fandom yarn, it's perfect. This is the Fred and George colorway by Nomadic Yarns, and this is a Harry Potter inspired yarn. And if you know anything about Fred and George Weasley or Harry Potter, then you know that this colorway is perfect for them. It's like insane. Obviously they have red hair. I think one has a blue sweater and one has a green one, and then this like speckled portion just reminds me of like Bertie Bott's Every Flavor Beans, or maybe like Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, which is the joke shop that they open in the books. And I'm just in love with how it turned out. Like the colors are insane, so good. So my typical vanilla sock recipe: a 2x2 rib, a fairly long leg, fish lips kiss heel, the foot, and then a rounded toe. A 56 stitch cast on, and I knit all of my socks on 9-inch circulars. So I'm really, really pleased with how these turned out. The dye job on this is just fantastic. Give you a, hi Jafar. The dye job on this is just incredible. So, so good. Ugh, yes, I love it. So, Nomadic Yarns, this was my first time knitting with Nomadic Yarns. I do have another one of her colorways in my stash, the Lupin colorway. I can't wait to use that. So I have not yet cast on another pair of socks, which is pretty atypical for me. Normally like I cast off a pair, cast on another pair, and I'm sure I will soon because it makes for some really great commute knitting. Right now my commute to work is around 40 to 55 minutes one way. So that's a lot more commute time than I had when I lived in Williamsburg. So I get a lot of knitting done on the subway, and socks are perfect for that. So I'm sure that I will. I'm really in the mood to cast on a pullover or a cardigan. I haven't fully decided which one yet, but I am just really in the mood for a garment knitting right now. So I'm sure that doesn't mean that I will not be knitting socks anymore for all you sock lovers out there, but I am just kind of pausing for a second while I regroup and figure out what I want to knit next. I just finished the second sock of this yesterday, so that's that. The next, it's not a finished object, but it is a half object, is my Wool and Vine Yarns shorty sock. So this sock was born out of my stupidity, I guess you could say, or thoughtlessness for going to a holiday party full of knitters and not bringing knitting with me. Major oversight, I know. But luckily, Kristen, who is a very talented dyer, I'm sure you have all heard of her, of Wool and Vine Yarns. When you're in a dyer's house, you're pretty much guaranteed that there's going to be like scraps of yarn or, you know, yarn that you can use. So Kristen graciously gave me a little, let me dig through her scraps bin, and I picked out this little 50-ish gram cake of yarn, which happens to be her Jilted Rose colorway on her sparkle base. And it's amazing. So this sock, she also, because I didn't have needles with me, she loaned me DPNs of hers, and she loaned me these Carbons DPNs. And I can't be certain because I haven't measured it, like I haven't poked it into my needle gauge, but I'm pretty sure that this is a 2.5 millimeter needle, if not more than that, and the needles I normally knit my socks on are 2.25 millimeter, which is a US 1. So the gauge is a little bit bigger than what I'm used to, and the Fish Lips Kiss heel I also did with the Carbons needle, so it's kind of got this gap here that I'm going to need to close up, but it's okay. But I started out knitting this sock on the Carbons, and when I finished the heel, I was just like, ugh, I can't take this anymore. It's just slowing me down. I really need to get back onto my 9-inch circulars. I love the Carbons needles for DPNs, even for knitting in general. I think it's a great needle. As I've mentioned on previous podcasts, the shaft of the needle is this kind of grippier texture, but the tip of the needle is metal and slick, so it holds onto your stitches, but the slick tip makes it very easy to kind of dig and knit quickly. So for a loose knitter, I think that these needles are an absolute dream because the stitches will not fall off of the needle, but it's still fast because you've got the metal tip. Anyway. Once I finished the heel, I was just like, oh, I can't take this anymore. It's just going way too slow for me. So I switched over to a 9-inch circular, and on the size 1, and the gauge is, as you can see, pretty different from that. And I've tried it on, and it's okay. They're not going to be for me anyway. These are going to be a gift for my sister who loves shorty socks, and I prefer crew socks personally, so the longer leg. So she's going to love these. Because she loves the shorty socks. So hopefully they'll fit her properly, or that she'll like them. So the toe is a mini that I have from Yarn Co. See if I can dig it out here. And the colorway is called Electric Meadow. I love Yarn Co. yarn. Her dyeing is just so fabulous. It's just like the tones that she has are just exactly my taste. Yeah. So 56 stitch cast on, 2x2 rib, fish lips kiss heel, a bit of a longer foot because my sister is, I think, a size 10, I'm not sure. Got a hair there, sorry. And a rounded toe on Electric Meadow. I love how they turned out. I think the color combination is really cool. And I've gone on and cast on the second sock on my 9-inch circulars this time, and I'm about halfway finished with the fish lips kiss heel right now, turning the heel, and then I will knit the foot like the other. But yeah, Kristen's yarn, totally amazing. You get a chance to knit with it, highly recommend it. I'm not sure if that gold stellina is coming off, but it's a really pretty sock. I love this Jilted Rose colorway. I could definitely see myself wearing a cardigan made out of that. The next work in progress, living in my Cat's Kettle Zelda bag, the Hetty shawl. The edging is so close. I know you guys are like hating me right now, like, why are you still showing us this damn shawl? I know, guys, I know, but I have the deadline set for myself. It has to be done before the Washington County Farm and Fiber Tour, so it has to be done before then. I have timed myself, I don't know why I didn't before, just to see, but each of these little cable portion V thingies here takes me, it's an 8-row repeat, and it takes me about 18 minutes to knit each one, and I have about 20 left to go. So as you can see, it does take quite a while. This is where I was last time, this is what I've added to it. Again, if you have not heard, or if you are new to this podcast, this is the Hetty shawl by Isolde Teague. My God, this lighting is like, oh, sorry. It keeps changing. I have no curtains in my living room right now, I'm sorry. This is the Hetty shawl by Isolde Teague. Oh, runaway yarn ball. Hetty shawl by Isolde Teague. And I'm adding 10 extra repeats to it to make it a bigger shawl because it's a little bit small for my taste, as it's written. So this is the edging, hella cabling, and it's gorgeous. I'm knitting it in Brooklyn Tweed, and this is the Hayloft colorway. A beautiful, beautiful yarn. I love working with Brooklyn Tweed personally. Okay. Sorry, moved to a different location within my living room, so hopefully the lighting doesn't make me look like I'm holding a flashlight underneath my chin and telling ghost stories. But you know what the real ghost story is? This shawl. It's scary. Scary how long it takes. All right, anyway, God, why is there yarn everywhere? So I try to work on it a little bit every night, maybe get two repeats of the edging finished every night. So this night I completed a fair, this past couple weeks I completed a fair amount. I didn't work on it every day. Some days I just can't look at it anymore. So this edging is almost done. I hope I even like the shawl by the end of it. Here's hoping. Just because it's been such a labor of love getting it done. I mean, it is beautiful. Make no mistake. It is beautiful, make no mistake, but yeah. So this is the edging. I'll pick up those center interior stitches, and then it's just garter in the interior and decreasing, increasing. I don't know, I haven't looked at the pattern yet. And I love it, sort of. Yeah. So, slow and steady. Winning this race. This is almost a year-long work in progress, which is insane, but true. All right, and that's it for the knitting segment of Whips and FOs. The next segment of the podcast is the sewing segment, and it's called Spoolish Games. I have been very busy sewing, as you may or may not know. The Brooklyn Knitfolk Quilt-Along tutorial series is coming along swimmingly. So if you haven't noticed already, I did release a materials video for the Brooklyn Knitfolk Quilt-Along. The idea is that I'm going to put together the entire quilt first, and then I will release the tutorial videos one by one as I get finished with them, so that I don't have to have the pressure of sewing along with answering your questions, and I can just answer your questions. So I am in the process of making the quilt that I'm making for the tutorial series, and I have finished the top. So mine is about, it's a little shy of queen size. It needed like probably 2 to 3 more rows in height to be queen size, but you get the general idea. I think it's so pretty. I love the fabrics that I used in it. I'm not even sure if I'm holding it up the right way. But yeah, it's a mixture of lots of whites, blues, and pops of orange. I really, really like how it turned out. So is this lame? I really, really want to have a quilting bee for it. And if you don't know what a quilting bee is, basically, I'll insert this amazing picture I found of these girls in the 70s having a quilting bee in Central Park. A quilting bee is when you invite a bunch of friends over, probably crafty friends, and you all quilt the quilt together. So a quilt is called a quilt because of the stitching, like when you actually quilt through the layers, the top to the backing and the batting in between. And whenever somebody would finish a quilt, the ladies would get together and like socialize. It was a method of socialization and having conversation, and then they would all hand stitch the quilt together around a really big quilting frame, for lack of a better word. I don't have this giant quilting frame, and I don't plan on getting one. However, I do think it's a really sweet and cool idea to get my friends together to quilt my quilt with me. This is going to be a tie quilt because that's what the tutorial series is going to be. It's a very simple and not at all difficult. I mean, I could do it alone, but I just think it would be so much fun to have people over. I don't know, maybe not fun for them. So I have to like run this idea past my friends to see if they'd even be interested in doing this. Maybe I'll make some sort of like chili dinner or something, I don't know, to like have people over, especially because I haven't had anyone over in my new apartment yet. So I think that that would be really fun to quilt this quilt together with them and have a quilting bee. I don't know, is that lame? That's the idea I have in my head for this, but yeah, here's the quilt. I have so many leftover fabrics, which has kind of given me an idea for something I may or may not do as a prize for the quilt along. I can probably see where I'm going with that, but stay tuned. We'll see if I'm really ambitious enough to make a second quilt as a prize. But yeah, so I have all this extra fabric left over. It would be a shame to waste it, so we'll see. But I have to tell you guys, I mean, the cutting is what takes forever for me because I hate cutting fabric out. This took half a day to sew a queen size quilt together. Quilts and sewing in general are so fast in comparison to knitting. It's such an instant gratification craft. I love sewing. So if you are interested in sewing, fringe interested, or put down your machine and haven't done it for a while, pick it back up if you want to. You know, it's just such a gratifying experience because you can bust out projects so fast. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. I've got kind of like this scheme where I did 4 white squares and then 4 colored squares, and these were all random, and I laid it out on the floor to kind of make sure that I was kind of evenly dispersing the fabrics that I had so that they weren't all getting too concentrated of a particular fabric in a certain area. So, and then after that I just kind of stacked it in rows and sewed it together. You'll see in the quilt along series if that's what if you're interested in doing so. But for those of you who won't be quilting it and just want some background on for those of you not making quilts and just want some background on this work in progress, then here's that for you. But yeah, it was a joy to sew. I love it. I can't wait for it to be a finished object. I need to order my backing fabric and the batting. I typically order backing fabric and batting after I finish the quilt top so that I can measure what the actual final quilt top ends up being, so that I don't massively under or over order backing fabric. So just a way to kind of save some money. My next sewing project, which you will recognize from last week, unfortunately I'm not wearing it because, again, it doesn't fit. But this time, it's not the pattern's fault, or because I didn't check the finished dimensions. So I am in the process of making McCall's M6706, and I'm making view C. This one right here, I think it's C. Yes, the high-low skirt. I'm making it out of this Telio diamond print fabric in olive, which I ordered from fabric.com. I have tons left over, so I'm thinking of actually making a matching crop top with this. And I've been piecing together the skirt. It's been going really well. Very straightforward, simple project. The problem, the zip is inserted and everything, the problem is it's too big by about 4 inches. So if you saw the previous episode, you saw that this project starts out basically as 2 really long rectangles, and then you just the pleats are what gather it in so that it fits you. And I think there's a combination of factors at play at why this isn't fitting. I think that my pleats probably aren't taking up enough of the fabric, so that's one problem. I need to unpick it and redo the pleats so that the pleats take up more fabric. The second problem is that, well, not really a problem, I guess it's a good thing. If you have seen previous episodes, I've briefly mentioned a few times, I have started a fitness regimen. You can follow me on Instagram as @SalemFitTrials if you're interested in my fitness journey. And I have dropped at least a size, maybe like a size and a half, 2 sizes now, dress clothes. And I didn't think to retake my measurements before starting this project. So I went by measurements that were around probably whenever I took them for my Rhinebeck dress. So sometime in October, which was kind of like maybe a month after starting my fitness journey. And I haven't retaken them since, and I've been using those old measurements to determine what pattern size to start with for the project. So that, I think, combined with not making the pleats big enough, left me with 4 extra inches of fabric in this here. And I know I have not lost 4 inches on my waist. That would be pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't measured, so maybe I have, I don't know. But so a combination of the pleats problem and then losing weight is making this a little bit too big. But I will say, from trying it on, I'm loving, this fabric, I think, is, even though it's a knit fabric, it's not super stretchy. And this fabric does call for wovens, I think, but the knit fabric is working great in this. I will say the volume of the skirt paired with this waistband that's going to be really tight and cinched in is making for a super flattering skirt. I am in love with how I know this will fit once I redo the pleats. So this is the skirt. The waistband is kind of just hanging around because I haven't finished that yet and I have to unpick it anyway. But this is the skirt. It's a high-low skirt. It has not been hemmed yet. Box pleats. Or is that box pleats? I don't know. I might be making that up. Once I take out the waistband and then regather the pleats so that they take up more of the fabric. And then I'll redo this waistband here, and then it will be good to go to hem. But you get the kind of general idea about what it's going to look like. And like I said, I have a bunch of extra fabric, so I think it would be really cool to make a matching crop top with this outfit. I think it would look really so fashion, Very New York City kind of outfit. And I'm just always dreamed of having a skirt made out of a quilted fabric, so I'm really excited to have it. So yeah, this will be an addition to my wardrobe. I just have to redo that pleat. Or that pleating. And then the last sewing project I want to talk to you about is one I haven't started yet, but a fabric that I've had in my stash. It was a gift actually from Tanya, my friend Tanya, who is T-Knit Pearl on Instagram. She gave me this awesome remnant of these Japanese geisha. And I love this fabric, and I knew when I saw it that I wanted it to be a top. I don't know if I have enough really, but this is the pattern that I'm thinking of making. That's sunlight. So this is kind of what the front looks like. I want to do a more fitted version probably, and I want to use version A that has this kind of crisscross back to it. So it says for a small, which is the size I would be on this pattern, that it was going to take 1 yard and 1/8 of fabric. And this is not 1 yard of fabric for sure. So what I'm thinking I will do is use this for the front of it, and then maybe a different color, a different fabric, like a solid or a stripe or something like that for the back portion, especially because it's kind of this crisscross anyway, and this print is so big that I'm not sure that you're even going to really be able to tell what's on the print from the back, so it might benefit from doing a solid or a small printed pattern to accompany it. So I think this is going to be really cool when it's done. And I just kind of want this tank top. And this is McCall's M6751. Labeled as easy. I'm sure I could get this done in a day. I kind of have to look through my fabric stash to see if I already have a fabric that can match this. I'm hoping I do. It would be really cool to do a red contrast with this fabric. Ooh, maybe even leftover twill from my Rhinebeck dress. That could potentially be a back for this. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, really want to make this tank top here. And thank you, Tanya, for giving me this fabric. All right, I think that is it for sewing, and now we'll move on into acquisitions. So the only acquisition that I purchased personally and want to show you isn't a Yarny acquisition, but it's so amazing that I have to share it with you. You guys, I am like a moth to the flame, no pun intended, when it comes to candles. I can never resist buying candles. It's just like my go-to. Like some people are addicted to buying mugs. I am addicted. I'm gonna sneeze. I am addicted to buying candles. I buy them I use them and I love them. So I go through them really fast. This scent, the brand first of all is called Voluspa. Voluspa? I'm pretty sure you can get these at Anthropologie. I'm pretty sure. But the scent, oh, you guys, if there was smell-o-vision, pomegranate and blood orange. You need this candle in your life. It smells so good. I got it at a tea shop yesterday. We went to Harney & Sons in Soho. It was a fancy tea shop, which you probably saw some clips of in my intro for this week. I got it at a tea shop and it smells incredible. I love it. So you need this candle in your life. But for Yarny acquisitions, I was so spoiled by your generosity. Those of you who've, especially people who've sent me like housewarming gifts, and thank you so much. I just can't tell you how grateful I am. And this week I've had 2 people send me some beautiful Yarny acquisitions. The first one is a dyer. Her name is Sarah, and she lives, oh gosh, I'm blanking on which country in particular. I know it's in Scandinavia. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. Her indie dye shop is called Solvang by Sarah. There's her tag. And she asked if I wanted to pick out a skein for myself and a skein for you guys, and I said yes, of course, because I love sharing what you guys make with the world. And you guys make my job so easy because you're all so talented. So these are the 2 skeins I picked out. I have yet to decide which one I want to keep for myself and which one I'm giving away. I cannot for the life of me remember the names, and there's no way I could pronounce them because they're in whatever native language. Again, sorry, I forgot the exact country you're from, but they're in a different language that I can't even pronounce the letters. So here's the first one. It's like this gorgeous pastel-y pink with flecks of speckles of green and then darker pink in it. I hope it's coming off because the light is just like murdering things right now. It's so, so beautiful and delicate. So pretty. So that's the first one. And then the second one is a gray, a neutral, that has flecks of speckles of green and black in it. It almost reminds me of a Slytherin colorway, which makes me think maybe I should keep this one, but I'm all about the pastels right now, you guys. I've been loving pastels for like the past year. I don't know what it is. I'm pastel and neutral crazy. So I'm obsessed with both of these. These are so beautiful. The fiber content is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. So these would make excellent socks, but it's super, super soft. It could definitely be a shawl. This could also be very next to skin. So these are the two colorways I picked. I haven't decided again which one I'm going to keep and which one I'm going to give away, or what I'm actually going to use it for yet. It may be for the quilt along, but I kind of would like to get prizes for the quilt along that are sewing related and not knitting related, which, by the way, if any of you are really interested in donating prizes for the quilt along, by all means, please get in touch with me. I'm happy to share your creations with the world. It doesn't have to be sewing related, but I kind of would prefer them to be sewing related for the quilt along project. Anyway, so Solvang by Sarah. I will leave all of her contact information in the show notes for this podcast because it's beautiful, beautiful yarn. Subtle, lovely, absolutely gorgeous. She also sent me a little mini, and then the winner of the Solvang by Sarah prize also gets this little packet of goodies that has tea and some stickers and a made with love tag that you can sew into a project. So this is a really cute little packet that will go with the prize. The next item is not yarn, but still knitting related. So Leslie Wind, super, super talented metal worker. She hand makes these gorgeous shawl and sweater closures that are unlike, it's not just like your typical shawl pin where you have like usually like a circle and then an actual pin and pin it down into it together. This is a different kind of closure that has kind of like these scooped backs in it so that you can take it. I wish I had, actually, let me get something to show you. So the idea is that to close something, you'll take the hook and kind of hook it through. This is my first time even using it, but it seems pretty easy. There we go. Hook it through, and then you've got your closure. And the cool thing, I think, about this kind of design is that, for this one in particular, the open circle means that you can still see the yarn underneath it, the project underneath it. It's just really, really well thought out and beautiful. And it definitely kind of took some finagling to like get it in there, so it feels really secure. She let me pick out anything I wanted from her shop, and this is the one I chose. I just think it's so, so pretty. I love the simplistic nature of it. I love how you can, it really lets the hammered kind of worked metal shine. Oh, and she's, oh, how sweet. I just now noticed this. It's signed. Oh, it's signed. It says from Leslie Wind, and it says to Jacqueline on it, which I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Yeah, you can, sort of. So it's signed. Oh, I love that. That's just amazing. So yeah, I just think this is so beautiful, and I cannot wait to wear it. I'm gonna put this on my nightstand to remember to wear this soon. So again, that's Leslie Wind. I'll put all of the information in the show notes where you can go find stuff in her shop. It's really unique and beautiful pieces. And then last but certainly not least, so I don't know if you may or may not have heard of her. Her name is Stacy Yellowstone. She is oh, she just got married though, so her name might have changed. I don't know what it is though. Stacy, I'm sorry, Stacy. Maybe it says in her card. No, because it just says Stacy. Sorry, Stacy. Stress Knits podcast. She dyes yarn, Stress Knits yarn, and this is a skein I'll show you first that I've already purchased from her. This is Bell Jar, based on the book. So subtle and lovely. And the skein is messy because I took it out to take a picture of it, but it's gorgeous, trust me. She dyed a colorway based on Brooklyn Knitfolk. I cannot describe or tell you how special and valued that made me feel. It just like, when I opened it, I just like brought tears to my eyes, how sweet it was. This is the colorway. So they're both the same colorway but on different bases. This one is a Stellina base, which maybe the sun will help me out here in showing you. No, I don't know. Stellina base. It is a cream color that has flecks of red. And then, let's see if it tells base information on here. Whoop, dropping. 75-25 superwash merino nylon gold Stellina, 438 yards on her sparkle sock. And then this one is 80-20 superwash merino and nylon. Both have an excellent twist to them, so they're gonna give great stitch definition. This one is more of a grayer color than the Stellina bases and has, again, the flecks of red. There's also some flecks of yellow in there. It's very subtle. It's so pretty. Thank you so much, Stacy. One of them is for me to keep. The other one is to give away. I haven't decided which one I'm keeping or giving away yet. I feel like I'm leaning more toward the Stellina, but I love the grayish tones in this one, so it's a really hard choice. Again, I will let you know what this will be a giveaway for, probably some sort of upcoming knit along, we'll see. But I just had to show you in the meantime and gush about how pretty her yarn is. Stacy in particular does a really great job with not overdoing it in her colorways. She's subtle. It can be scary sometimes to like let so much of the yarn be, not bare, but to be so subtle. Stacy does an absolute dream job at doing this well. It's incredible yarn. It's absolutely beautiful. So I cannot wait to work with this. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know which one I'm keeping. I still need to knit Bell Jar up, and it's been like a coveted skein in my stash. And I feel like I don't know. I just don't know what to do with this yet because it's so special and I love it. And now that I have a Knitfolk colorway, I don't even know what to do with it. So I love it so much. Thank you so much, Stacy. Hello back to you, and thank you for this incredible gift. I can't even tell you what it means to me to feel so valued by people in the community. So thank you so much. And that is the end of the episode today. The last thing that we're going to go over is a new giveaway. The lovely Verena of the Wool Club, who you may or may not have heard, along with Hannah Lisa of Hannah on the Road. They are releasing a book about knitting and has 11 patterns in it. I'll link to their Indiegogo. Be sure to check it out. And buy yourself a copy and support their kind of like a Kickstarter of sorts. It looks like it's going to be amazing. They have released teasers of some of the patterns that are going to be in it, and oh my gosh, you guys, it's amazing. The book is called Woods. Lots of podcasters have been talking about it. It's been all over Instagram, so make sure you get in on it, because a lot of times with these things, I know for sure, like with Rib Magazine and other things like that, like you just never know how many they're going to produce. So if you don't get in on it when it's kind of in this kind of initial stage, then you may not be able to get it later on. I don't know their story. I don't know that for sure, so I don't want to spread that around. I just know from somebody who has produced small batch items of magazines and books in the past that with these kinds of things, you just never know. So get in on it now if you know that you love the patterns, and I know that I love the people who are working on this and the things that they make already. So it's like a done deal that anything that they make is going to be beautiful. Anyway, Verena of the Wool Club, she designs absolutely stunning patterns, has released some new sock patterns, and she has generously donated some copies to give away. So I'm going to be able to give away one of each of her latest sock patterns. I think there are either 2 or 3 in particular. I'll put in pictures of them here for you to look at. Same deal, the same thing. You guys know the drill. There'll be a thread up in the Ravelry group. Same prompt as always. 3 good things that have happened to you in the last 24 hours. I can't even tell you how uplifting it is to read through those threads. If you're feeling sad, just read through it. It can be as simple as like cooking a really good dinner, or I spent the day with my kids, or my son called me, or you know, whatever. It's just like, it's so nice to be reflecting on these good things that are happening in our lives. And once you start thinking about those things, it's amazing how much you notice all of the good things happening to you in your day-to-day life once you start actively trying to think of the good things that are happening. So anyway, thread in the Ravelry group so you can win copies of the socks, and I will be pulling 1 winner per sock pattern that I have up for grabs. So it won't be one person winning all of the socks, so this time you have a better chance of winning the sock patterns. So yeah, good luck, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!